All right, welcome back. It's another episode of Cybersecurity Unfiltered, Cyber Unfiltered, whatever you want to call it. Coming off the holiday, good times.
Always.
So,
And I'm done with turkey.
how much turkey did you have?
Burn your house down?
Didn't burn the house down, but I'm
Jeez,
done
dude.
eating that. It's like, we're done.
My guilty pleasure is just watching people drop frozen turkeys into a fryer. Honestly,
Mhm.
it's
In
a
their
terrible
kitchen?
thing to like. No, that'd be terrifying. Watching the fire department people do it, like the firemen do it outside, like in a controlled environment, it's terrifying enough.
Yeah.
And I can't believe people record this and put it on the internet.
No, it comes back to don't fry a frozen turkey. My grilled turkey was lovely, by the way.
How long did it take you?
I think 3 hours 45 minutes, almost 4. I did it real low and slow.
Well, so
About 20-pound bird. It's delicious.
you have a lot of people to feed.
16-pound bird. Yeah, we
Bob
did
has a
two.
lot of people.
Yeah,
Jeez,
two
Bob
birds.
has a lot of people to feed.
I had 19 people on mine.
Yeah.
we
So
had 14 this time. But, I
so
mean,
it's Angie and me, and then perhaps the dog. So I air fried a ham. And yes, that actually works. And I'm gonna air fry turkey. Like
I'm gonna try that.
If you get a pre-sliced ham, you can air fry it in 20 minutes. Like two pound ham, you can air fry it in like 20 minutes. It's crazy. So that was really cool. Yeah, and then we won't talk about the Lions and Wolverines and failure of the weekend. We'll skip that part. But I do have an update on the gift that just keeps on giving, right? So cover a little bit of JLR, Jaguar Land Rover.
Jaguar?
Because this is just this story has been. I mean, we've been now going on since September about this. So we're in December now. So 3 months, and there's news every single week. So they did charter dedicated cargo aircrafts to bypass its ground logistics hub and fly critical parts directly from suppliers to regional distribution centers.
Yikes.
They chartered cargo aircrafts. They've now set up a £50 million goodwill fund to compensate owners who haven't had their car for more than 30 days because they couldn't get the parts.
Because they can get parts. Oh my God.
Yeah. And some of them includes extended warranties and service credits that they're trying to just make sure that people are, okay. And then the most surprising news, I mean, I'm shocked by this. Their CISO, or the Chief Information Security Officer, has agreed to step down mutually. Right.
This says a lot.
Right. Yeah, mutually. That person was not given an opportunity. I was told you're going to resign, and you're going to mutually agree to that and then leave. That allegedly. Yeah. They have hired a new CISO that comes from the banking industry. So it sounds like their shift is to really embrace more security, specifically at the factory networks and just their data networks in general. Because obviously they got completely exposed here. So they're going to make changes. But this is a very expensive, ongoing saga.
That is a heck of a doozy to take over as a CISO. Godspeed, sir.
No, the guy who mutually agreed to step down is probably just wrecked physically, just from the stress.
Oh yeah.
This person gets to walk into this, nice stressful situation. The other thing to think about too here is they didn't have cyber insurance, which we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. But like they did have cyber insurance, so all this cost is their costs. There's nobody helping them with this. They do have a class action lawsuit. Their employee data leakage. So the law firm has confirmed that there's 12,000 current and former employees that have joined the claim.
Oh boy.
That's a lot.
The potential payout now will probably exceed 100 million pounds if they're found liable.
Yeah.
So
that's impressive.
Yeah. That's the industry response right now, there's something called the CyberSafe Charter. It's the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. They've launched the CyberSafe Supply Chain Charter. So it's going to be a new standard directly responding to this crisis. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. It's going to be like a new voluntary code that requires all tier 1 auto suppliers to hold enhanced cybersecurity accreditations. They're going to make it mandatory for all of their contracts in 2026. Yes, the company that got hit with the cyber attack that caused all of this is going to make that charter mandatory in all their contracts going forward.
Sounds like CMMC.
It does. I haven't really dove into this yet. It'd be something maybe we can kind of dive into and check out. But I think it's something important that, as you see this go on in more and more industries, you're probably going to see more and more industries get together and do charters. One, it's better for the industry, and two, it hopefully keeps government out of it. I think it's probably their big call.
Well, the fact that Jaguar's saying you have to do this to work with us actually is really good because because it's not like the government coming and saying you need to do this. This is saying if you want to work with Jaguar as our supplier, we need you to be secure.
Jaguar is going to be told by the UK government something.
Oh yeah,
so, I mean,
that
because of the impact, because they had to get involved and offer loans and all this other stuff. Like, there's going to be fallout from government.
It has to be.
There's just going to be because of how big the impact was. So,
well, see, you're going to see what the impact is of all those funds the government made available for endorsing loans if these people actually get to pay them back. So there's going to be fallout.
Yeah, but again, this is going to probably give us a blueprint of, especially, I know they're not part of the EU anymore, but let's be real. Like, if this happens in the EU might actually take like some sort of action before it happens. But what about other countries, other regions? Like, what impacts is this going to be? Because this is something we can learn from, right? Like, the landscape's not changing in a good way. It's changing, but it's not changing in a good way. So when you see somebody like this get hit like this, it makes you rethink a lot of things. We've talked about how it makes you rethink your supply chain, how it makes you just think about security in general. Like, their hire of a former bank CISO means they're going to probably bring in far more controls and really much more be more strict about cybersecurity. So we'll see. Interesting thing on that. But along the lines of cybersecurity, cyber insurance, Bob, you had an interesting one that you kind of turned us on to today, right?
Yeah, it was it AB Consulting Company had an issue and had a cyber issue, and turns out they did everything that the cyber insurance policy said they should be doing, including getting some testing done and documentation done. But when the breach happened, they actually contacted and got on chat with the bad guys, and the bad guys found out that they had cyber insurance. And who would have known that telling somebody you have cyber insurance is enough to invalidate your policy?
First call should always be your insurance.
Lawyers and insurance companies, but apparently they were on chat, and in this case, Coalition did have a non-disclosure in their agreement that says you contact us before you talk to the bad guys.
So they basically paid $14,000 for insurance they couldn't use that would have helped with, what was the ransom? 1.1 million or so?
Yeah, and if you look at it, it's the company was Allardyce Bauer Consulting. They're in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The policy they had covered up to $5 million ransom.
It's good policy.
Yeah, and it sounded like they got the policy. So the people that hit them, sounds like they got the policy. It was just PDF saved, so they knew they knew the policy anyway.
So Bob, on the article you sent us about it, the most interesting thing I found was they had a little bit of the chat with the hacker group, and the hacker group basically said, "We know that you have a cyber insurance policy with a limit of $6 million. Our financial experts have estimated what losses you will incur in the event of a leak of your personal data." So they basically knew the most they could max out, the biggest ask they could give. So at that point,
I had one client tell me, "Oh, I'm not going to up my cyber policy because they're going to ask for that anyway. They're going to ask for whatever I have."
Which you should know what you have, but I guess if you've been hacked, that's a possibility.
Certain groups have, but a lot of groups don't. because they know there's going to be a bargain. There's going to be a negotiation. So it's interesting. Like this one's specifically interesting because they allege the dwell time on this attack was 10 to 14 days.
Wow, that's short.
Sure, but they used it to exfiltrate the data, and it sounds like they got the insurance policy with it.
Yeah,
and then that also allowed them to map out the entire network and make sure they could, when they hit the button and encrypt them, it was going to be successful. But it sounds like they did the double extortion. So they showed them proof of exfiltrated data. This happened in late August. They didn't show up on the ransomware leak site until October 1st. And then it looks like on October 19th is when there's public disclosure that the insurer had refused to pay the claim. So specifically to what Bob said, the thing we're looking for is it's called a duty to cooperate. That's where it sounds like their failure was. And basically kind of what Bob said, it's like they had a conversation outside of, they did something, whether it was talking to the group that did the ransomware, or they did something outside of talking to the insurance company first.
Yeah. So I did talk to an agent, that a guy that does look at coalition policies, and when I got back from him, he says, yeah, it looks like coalition does have a clause that if you engage in negotiation prior to submitting the claim or compromise the claims process, they can deny coverage. So just clicking on that chat button was enough to say, oops.
Call a lawyer, call your insurance.
Well, on top of that too, it's not just that. There's other things you could do too, right? What happens if you just restored a backup and didn't give their forensics team time to look at it? That'd be the same thing.
Sure.
So there's so many things they could have done that could have violated that clause. And if we read the clause, apparently this was the text. We have the right to make any investigation we deem necessary, and you will cooperate with us in all investigations. Respond to reasonable requests for information, and execute all papers and render all assistance as requested by us. You will do nothing that increases our exposure under this policy. You will also cooperate with us in counsel in the defense of all claims. So basically, if you don't call them immediately and you do anything, whoops.
Yep.
Man, that's some risk mitigation right there by the insurance company. Whew. That's.
You can almost say that rebooting systems was enough to invalidate that.
They don't want you to touch a thing.
Absolutely, because if you're engaging with their incident response team to do it, if you destroy anything, any evidence, like they could lob that clause over there.
And
there's been other, like I did some research because I wanted to like kind of figure out like, okay, where could we really dig into this? So obviously read your policy. You need to understand your policy. If you have an agent, talk to your agent, but you really have to understand your policy. You may even have to have a lawyer involved just to really understand like what you need to do. And this goes into your incident response plan, right? If your insurance company has a clause like this, it doesn't matter what your IT company tells you. It doesn't matter what your internal IT company tells you or your lawyer. I mean, if it says that, you literally have to contact them first.
Yeah. And
if you want to use that policy.
A lot of it's really counterintuitive because the security guys and IT guys, there are things we're going to want to do instantly to stop the threat. But guess what? If you have cyber insurance, we got to ask them that first. That's the first phone call.
Well, I'm rethinking how we engage with our customers, because that clause, and I don't think I have anybody with this coalition specifically, but like if anybody else has that clause in there, like if we do something for like a business email compromise, even though we have all the logs for it and we can store, we have all that stuff stored. Like if we do anything that compromises that any kind of investigation, I mean, are they going to sue us now? Because even though it's not our responsibility to necessarily know what's in the customer's insurance claim, that's theirs. This is a slippery slope.
It is. And beyond just pausing an account or disabling an account, there's no questions. So I do think that's one reason those incident response plans are so important, but now it needs to factor in exactly what is that language in that policy, because that's certainly going to affect it. And I'm wondering if my own one is perfect right now. So,
Coalition also
I
has.
got some reading tonight, Matt.
Got some reading. A little light reading on a snow day. We're snowed in basically right now.
Coalition also has like an active insurance part. And it sounds like if they do like a server scan, so they'll do like a attack server scan, and you have RDP open and you fail to close it, and that's how you get the attack, they'll deny you.
Mhm.
So this really brings up more. There are some insurance companies out there that will sell you managed detection response. I lost a customer to that because they came in and they said, hey, if you use our managed detection response service, we will give you a discount. This is something that you really need to think about in business. Is it a good idea to put a lot of your front-end security and stuff like that in the insurance company's hands? Because they have all the data. You're creating a very interesting trail for them where they could say you're non-compliant. Even though you're using their systems, like that means they can detect a lot of stuff. They can actually track a lot of things, especially if it's like email. What if you didn't have MFA turned on one account? And they don't notify you, but like, what does the policy say? Does their MDR require them to tell you that? Or they just tell you and you don't fix it, and then they say, okay, whoops, we're not going to pay your policy. Or they'll do like a rescission thing where that just means they'll just cancel your policy. So they'll sue you and say, we're just suing you to cancel the policy. And they'll return your whatever you've paid, but you kind of just, you're out of your SOL at that point. Like if you had a cyber attack, you're paying for it. And there's been ICS was like one of those that Travelers did because they didn't have MFA, and they just basically avoided the policy. They did the rescission and they avoided the policy.
And the insurance company's got all their evidence that they want. Yeah.
So
it's interesting, a slippery slope. I did pull some stuff. It looks like Coalition is probably the most strict on this. I don't see anything else that has that level of duty to cooperate. Hiscox might. Read your policy. Look specifically for duty to cooperate. That is a trapdoor. Let's just say that.
Homework for everybody. Check your policies, and if you want help looking at them, reach out to any of us.
Yeah, and then make sure you get your lawyer involved.
I was gonna say, not a lawyer, but
not a lawyer.
guidance.
Anyway, guys,
I
think that's enough doom and gloom and slippery slopes for this week. We got enough slippery stuff going on outside right now. So
yeah, really, for real.
Yep.
Right. Check your policy. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.